Hey, my creative friends, it is time to talk creativity. I think I'm going to move this because I shake. Well, I'll try not to shake it. How about that? How about if I move it up off of the, yeah. Let's move it off so it doesn't shake because every time I move, I shake the whole place. Okay, we are back from Denmark, back into Sweden. And we've had our naps, we've unpacked some of our stuff, we just love Denmark. It was very great. We got to do all the things we wanted to do. We didn't miss any of our flights. We didn't have any accidents. Hey, Trisha. We didn't have any accidents on planes. We have a day to settle in before we have to start getting back to the routine. So everything was successful for our week in Denmark, and it was really great to be able to do that. Feel very fortunate to do that. So speaking of accidents on planes, when I came over from the U.S. to, I can't remember if it was Sweden or Oman, but Joseph had an accident because it's a 12-hour flight, and I forget what happened beforehand, and he hardly ever. Jenny, hello Jenny. So he had an accident, and luckily we had the backpack. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight, traveling with kids. And it's related to creativity in the fact that when you are angry or frustrated, or you you have those feelings of anxiety, of being rushed, and all those things that happen sometimes, you are not creative. You don't feel creative. You can't, it takes more to get that creative energy going. And so, especially when you're traveling, there's so many unknown things anyways, that if you can anticipate some things, especially if you're taking kids, that will help you stay in a certain energy and certain zone so that you can have a creative trip. And we talked about creative trips yesterday, but today we're going to talk about traveling with kids. And so first off, it really depends on where you're going, how you're going to get there, the length that you're going to be there. Those are all variables that make things, you have to make things more specific to that. But there are some things that I have done for every trip, and I have 8 kids. We've traveled across the country with 21 of us in a couple vans, and traveled across the ocean, so long plane flights, short plane flights, just different destinations. So I have a little bit of idea what it's like to travel with kids. And so the one thing that I always think is a great thing is to have a backpack for the kid. And it has to be their backpack. They don't have to share. And it's part of it is that it's anticipation. They get to pack it. They get to get ready for the trip. They get to put things in it they want. It becomes their little identifier as part of the group. We're going to travel. And so I have my backpack. And it becomes their responsibility also. That, they have to learn how to, pick it up at the airport, carry it around. If it gets too heavy, it's nobody's fault but their own. So they start to learn some responsibility with it as well. And let's see. If something's not brought, and I really like this because we always get blamed a lot of times as parents. So I like this because Joseph will do this too. Well, why didn't you pack such and such? And I'll say, you packed your backpack. Why isn't it in there? So then it becomes, again, his responsibility, and it's not your fault. And he'll try sometimes to just like push it, your fault. Nope, it's your backpack. I gave it to you. You could do whatever you want. Then let's see. It also limits the belongings. I don't know about some kids. I don't know why they want to pack everything they own, but they do. So it limits it. This is your backpack. This is the size. This is all you get. So there's a few things that can go in it that help to organize it. And for me, one of those is like little Pringle cans. You can really use anything, but little Pringle cans can be compact, and it helps to say, okay, you can take only so many cars that go in it, or so many, you know, little miniature figures. So the little mini Pringles cans work if they're disposable. If they get lost, if they get crushed, doesn't matter. Also, Ziploc bags, but I've upgraded now to like these little plastic mesh bags. But the point is you can see through them. It keeps things in order and compact so that you can just lift something out, because what will happen is this backpack can become a black hole, and it just like sucks the things in, and then when you go to get something, you cannot find it. So you have to have those kind of little organization things. Also, the little hiking clips that you can clip things on, like gloves and different things that can clip on the outside depending on where you're going to go, umbrellas or whatever. So the little clips, and then also little kids need plastic bags, just like 2. A big one I like to take now with Joseph, since we go on a plane and he did have an accident once, I like to take a plastic bag if we're going to go on 11-hour flights, so that can go underneath him, and then I don't have this panic attack if, you know, worrying, well, is he going to wet himself? And you can use the plastic pants and stuff like that too. There's different ways to do it, but you know, plastic bags are kind of a catch-all. You can use it for anything. So those are kind of the things to organize it. Then, let's see, there's things you can put inside. Things you can put inside. For me, miniature anything. I think the miniature things are cute anyways, but miniature toys, miniature games, the smaller the better. And toys, puzzles. Today we did a puzzle on the plane with Joseph, and it kept him occupied. Like little magnifying glasses. So it doesn't even have to be toys. It can be just little objects. The little sand dial things, because then it can help with time. Little pop-up bowls or cups, or you know, anything that kind of is different that they don't get to use all the time, and then also miniature. Then there's the food, the dried fruit, the jerky, goldfish, and in this day and age, no nuts. Today when we were on the plane, they did an announcement. Somebody's terribly allergic to peanuts, so don't eat your peanuts on the plane, please. So take nuts off the list. Then there's comfort things. I remember one of the flights Joseph got when the lights dimmed and we were in the dark. He's not particularly scared of the dark, but I think the idea of being on a plane, being with a bunch of people, the noise and everything else kind of made him uncomfortable. And so I got him, and we had several flights we were making, so I got him a little fan, because he's warm, he gets so hot, so he got the little fan, but it had a little light on it, so when we took off he could have this little light, and it didn't make very much noise. And so then he had some comfort for himself, so that when he started to get uncomfortable, then he could light that, he could cool himself off, and it was his, and it was a new thing, and so it was fun for him. Let's see. Another thing, don't make anything indispensable. Don't make it important. If you lose the backpack, it's not going to be a total loss to your vacation. And don't make it their backpack so they don't have to share it with anybody. If you have more than one kids, that was a thing with me is I would, and I also made time-stamped content. So the Ziploc bags, you could have them at certain times. I wrote on the outside, or I kind of, depending on the trip, I just told them when they could have them. And then they also had a bag where they could do whatever they want. So it had treats in it usually. They could have it, they could eat them all at once, or they could just like, you know, go along. And some kids ate them all at once and they were fine. They knew that they didn't get to have anybody else's. And they ate them all and they were totally fine, didn't care. Some of them just like savored it the whole time. And so, but it gives them, if they have as a timestamp thing, it's like, okay, you get it this time, and then it's anticipating, and it breaks up the trip, and it's just kind of fun. So let's see on my list. Another thing in airports. Another thing you could pack, old cameras, old phones, I mean, so that they can take pictures. They can take pictures of things. Joseph was so funny when we went to museum. He saw me taking pictures constantly. So what he wanted to do was take pictures. So he would take pictures of Alan and I. He goes, okay, you two go stand over there and I'm going to take a picture. And then he would come to me and he goes, I see a beautiful window. I want you to come stand over here and I'll take your picture. And he's so deliberate and so cute, and he does really good pictures too. So a camera, old phones, and I saw that with other kids at the museums and different places we went as well. So, gum's a must, or sucker. I think suckers work. Tell me if suckers would work for you, to when the pressure changes in the airplane, to have them do that. If the kid knows how to yawn, that's different, but Joseph's not quite there yet. So, but gum, definitely. And let's see. Oh, here's something I do because we had the longer flights, and I find that this really works. In airports, he's not allowed to run around. He can play in, just a confined area, so I can keep track of him. And that's my comfort zone. Some people let their kids run. I don't. And so he is used to staying in a certain little area. But just before we get on the plane, when it's pre-boarding, I will have him do like calisthenics, like jumping jacks. I'll say, okay, you have to do 10 jumping jacks. And then it's like, you have to do them super fast or super slow, or, run in place. And can you run in place while I count to 100? Or, just things to just like get that initial burst of energy out of him, and to, so he starts to settle down. Your child, maybe that just like winds them up. I don't know, but it really works for us to be able to have him get some of that energy out before we get on the plane. And that works for layovers or anything too. When you start to see them get a little antsy and they want to do things, it's just like, get that little energy. Let's see. I think that is all I have, but I know you have things. I know some of you have traveled way more than I have. And so put in the comments, share with us in the comments your tips and your things that you do that have been successful. And all the kids are different. So even if it only worked for one kid, it might work for somebody else's one kid. So put down some ideas so we can have something to pick through and find what works for us. And also because I'm going to be traveling some more, and so we need more ideas. And let's see, I think that's it tonight. So I hope you make it fun. Did I say one other thing? Did I say do I spy in museums? When we've been visiting museums a lot, which is not a kid's favorite thing. So this is the last tip. Those brochures that they have at the beginning of right at the checkout or in the bookstore, they have brochures usually about the museum and stuff, and they usually have images of some of the things in the museum, paintings or statues or whatever. So Joseph takes that and we play I Spy with that, like find these objects in here. And that kind of makes it a game for him. And I would like more tips like that too, where we're going different places and what can occupy them in a place that's not as fun for them, but can be engaging for them. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say. And remember, you have a creative heartbeat, so listen for it. And I will be back tomorrow to talk about some more creative things. I think our travel thing is done for a while. Joseph starts back to school Monday. But we had 2 weeks off, and it was great. It was great. We have another, I think, 3 or 4 weeks at Christmas. So we will be doing some other things, so leave your tips and share. And like the video if you're on YouTube or on Facebook. Anyways, I'll see you tomorrow.